Hello everyone, I'm Slow Rider, this is my world. Welcome back. Or welcome if you're new. You might be, who knows. Hope you're having a wonderful week, a wonderful January. January's a pretty awful month really. A bit dull and depressing. Christmas, post-Christmas blues and all that. So I hope you're not feeling that and you're bright and sparkly and all you know. I don't know, what am I talking about? In today's interesting little video I'm going to talk about my biking past. In other words, when I started riding and all that sort of stuff, what bikes I've ridden. It's a pretty short tale, it won't take you very long to go through it, to be honest. Or me to go through it and you to listen. My story starts in 2017. Not that long ago. Less than 5 years really, I think it's the March of 2017. I was off work for a little bit. 3 months I think it worked out. And a friend of mine said, why don't you learn to drive or something like that? And I said, I don't really want to learn to drive and it'll take forever. But I might learn to ride a bike, how about that? I was like, yeah, go and do that. And then her cousin said, well, you know, if you're going to learn to ride a bike, if you get your CBT out of the way, I'll go round with you and we'll check out a few places and see if there's any bikes you like. So yeah, that'd be grand, thank you very much. Did some research on local riding schools, found one that was appropriate I could get to very easily. RJH in Salford. And yeah, I went through the online form, you know, manual bike, CBT, blah blah blah. And on the day they brought out, you know, they asked the basic question, what experience have you got on bikes? None, not motorbikes anyway. And yeah, manual bike, yeah, yeah. Okay. Bit of a jump, but okay, fine, no problem. Gets out the CG125, and yeah, I got on with riding it, don't get me wrong, but gears, yeah, wasn't so hot on gears. So we get about halfway through the day and he says, you know, listen, if you're insistent on doing a manual bike, I can't take you any further. You wouldn't be. We've got to go out on the road in a short bit, and I don't think you'll be safe on the road with that bike. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. He says, but there's a scooter over there. And jump on that and have a little ride around, see how you feel. If you feel alright, and if you look like you're right to me, then we'll take you out on the road on that. It'll make no difference to your CBT at all what bike you do it on. So you might as well do it on that. So I did. That's the highlight of that story, I think. He did mention afterwards that he was quite impressed with my road riding ability, which I don't know, I presume comes from 20 years of riding a pedal cycle. I was actually one of the good ones, don't shout at me. You know, obeyed red lights. Didn't cut across people's paths without warning. It actually indicated, you know, that sort of thing. Used cycle paths where provided, unless they were stupid. Kept to the side of the road, you know, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so a week or two later, go out with my friend's cousin. I say he's now my friend directly. And yeah, the second place we ended up was a Honda dealership. I went in there, looked at the 125s, and there's this CBR sitting there. And yeah, sat on that, and yeah, it feels quite good. Seems quite manageable. My friend says, yeah, no, that looks good, that. He says, listen, there's another dealership down the road. Do you want to go with this bike? because, you know, you do seem to like it. Do you want to go with this one, or do you want to see what the other shop has got? And I said, better see what the other shop's got, just in case. It was Kawasaki, Suzuki, that sort of place. Well, basically all the other major brands, except BMW. And I said, well, you know, yeah, we better go and check just in case. And he turns to the salesman. I kid you not, no word of a lie. He says, we'll be back in 20 minutes. And to be honest, he wasn't far wrong. It was maybe half hour, 35 minutes, something like that. Yeah, we were back there buying this CBR 125R. And I'm going to be honest, I think that's the best bike I've ridden. It sounds stupid now, but I really loved riding that bike. I had it for a little over 2 years. And I would not have got rid of it by choice. It was taken out by a Peugeot on a roundabout. By a Peugeot going the wrong way on a roundabout. I'm in the wrong lane. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. We're going to stay in this one, I think. Yes. Did 26,000 miles on that CBR 125R. It was the black one, not the tricolor one. The brand new 2017 CBR. Tricolor colour, and yeah, it was... I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I really got the bug. I think when you're getting your first bike, it's got to be one you like. Doesn't matter what condition it's in, so long as you like it. If it breaks down every 5 minutes, you're not going to want to know. You're going to forget riding. Get the right bike. Anyway. Yeah, 26 months I had that. Got written off. In between times, in 2018, I decided I would go for my full license. Direct access. Because I wanted to go camping. I wanted to make long distance trips, go into Europe, that sort of thing. Can't really do that on a 125, or at least not easily. It is possible, it's not as easy. And I hate difficulties, so, you know. So I went back to the same old training school. And I said, I wanted to direct access. No, cool. 4 lessons, 4 3-hour lessons, plus the 2 tests. I think it was 700 quid at the time. Which in comparison to some training schools apparently is quite expensive. I thought it was alright. What did I do? Oh, there's an ER6N, I think it was, a Kawasaki thing. Yeah, it seemed alright. Very upright seating position, much like this. I wouldn't buy one, but it seemed alright. In Mod 1 I got 3 minors. I stalled before we got into the test area. That's not a good start, but as long as you recover fine, you'll get a minor for stalling, but as long as you recover fine, you'll be alright. I got a minor for not making it up to 30 miles an hour on one of the high-speed tests. Oh, for fuck's sake, now you're waiting to go over. Ugh. Sorry. Language. How are you going? Where was I? Yeah, 1 minor for stalling. 1 minor for not reaching the required speed of 30 miles an hour. On one occasion, if you did that twice with a high-speed test, that'd be it. You know, failed. But one, that's fine. And he gave me a minor for my observations, which apparently weren't quite good. And, you know, he said he's put it down as a minor because they were okay, but then they weren't great. But when you're out on the road, they'll need to be better. I'm not quite sure what he meant by that, to be honest, but that's what he said. I thought I did alright for the observations, but clearly not. I'm going to be honest, when it came to Mod 2, I thought I had fluffed the whole thing. I really did. There's so many points where I just thought, oh god, he's going to minor for this, fail for that, so on and so forth, running through my head constantly. And then the final point, which I'd basically given up on it. I'd put it in neutral by mistake coming up to a roundabout. I meant to put it into first. I thought I put it into first. I only got it as far as neutral. Didn't check the dash. Probably the only time that test I didn't check the dash. And yeah, went to go and nothing. Obviously in neutral, I could say. So yeah, got at that point I just thought, forget it. Forget it. I've messed this up. I'll relax. I'll, you know, just go through the motions, get back to the place, and yeah, you know, accept what's going to be. I felt really crap coming out of that. I was maybe just about halfway through when that had happened. Anyway, got back to the yard, and the instructor, you know, the instructor who'd been there was waiting there for us. He says, how's it going? No, it's bad feelings, bad. And I mentioned initially one thing that's like, oh god, because it'd been mentioned actually going round. If he says, oh, this is this speed limit road, it probably means you failed, because he thinks he's in danger or something. You know, there's a car up behind him, whatever. And that's one of the things that had happened. It's, you know, it was coming up to a sign, well, a pair of signs, one on each side of the road, and it said 50 miles an hour. He said, and just as I'm about to accelerate, it says, just a reminder, this is a 50 mile an hour road. And I thought, it can't already have been a 50 mile an hour road, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So I'm relaying this story, and the examiner comes in. He says, okay, shall we go into this side room here, and we'll have a chat. Oh, god, here we go. And he sits down. He says, so I'm pleased to tell you you've passed. I'm like, what? What do you mean I passed? Which bike were you looking at? He says, you got one minor. And he says, I think you know what that's for. You went into neutral at the roundabout. And I went, yeah. So that's your only minor on that. Otherwise, yeah, well done. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. So there you go. See, never give up. Never give up. It was at that point that I went out and got this little beauty, and I've got a video, I'll provide a link here, of the reasons why I chose this particular bike. I'm glad he wasn't in my lane. So if you want to see that, yes. But yeah, this is a brand new bike as well. Went to the same Honda dealership. I had a test ride on a used one before that, which had a square back wheel, but it doesn't really matter. I thought, yeah, you know, this'll do. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't completely sold on it, but it fitted what I needed best. So I have grown to like it very much. I'm going to say that right now. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It is a really enjoyable bike to ride. It's not as fun as my CBR was, but CBR's a sports bike, you know. It's a different style of bike, and I do very much like the sports stylings. That was 2018, August 2018. My accident on the CBR 125R was in June of 2019. That was a week before I was due to make my first European holiday. I was going up to the Austrian Grand Prix, 2 weeks on my own in Europe on a bike. Not my first holiday abroad on my own, or even my first holiday alone. It was the first holiday on my own on a bike in Europe, camping. And I'll be honest, for the first week of that, I was like, what the hell am I doing this for? You know, I had the whole accident thing on my mind still. You know, what's going to happen. I still had emails and phone calls coming through for that. I had 125 at home on a hire agreement. That's a subject I'll need to go into at some point. So I was a little bit worried about that. If it was my bike, you know, it's sitting at home. You know, if it gets stolen, it gets stolen. This was a hire bike. It's an entirely different thing. But it was a CB125F. Now, this is not the worst bike I've ever ridden. It's pretty close, but it's not the worst. I can see the market for it. New rider. Commuting around town, I get it, no problem. Small bike, awesome. I just do not think it's a very good bike. It's reliable, it's kind of okay looking. Yeah. No guts. I mean, even for a 125, I think it's got no guts. I know there are people out there liking it, and I'll probably get hate for it for saying this, but that's what I think. It's my opinion. It's nothing compared to the CBR 125R, and it's certainly nothing compared to this. But it made me think about something that I was told when I passed my test and I got this bike. Chap at the dealership said, once you pass your test, you won't want to go back to your 125. He was wrong about that. My CBR was great. Of course I wanted to go back to that. But I understood the comment when I got on that CB125F. I understood it straight away. Yeah, you wouldn't choose to ride that over this. That's a utility bike for someone who hasn't passed their test yet, or has got an A1 license, or maybe an A2. If you got a full license, you wouldn't buy it, and certainly not for £3 grand. Anyway, I digress. I went on that tour into Europe, 2 weeks away. I did another trip to Europe later that year, the November. Went to the south of Spain, which was a very wet trip down there, very wet trip back, but Spain itself was quite dry. That works out well. But when I got back from that, I realised that what I was really missing was a bike that I could consider genuinely, excitingly fun. Never thought I'd say that about a 125, to be honest. But I was missing the CBR. There's no question about it. This is a nice bike to ride. It's a relatively fun bike to ride. Yeah, it does everything. It's not a dull bike. But I wanted a bike I could thrash around a little bit, you know, something that I could just... and I did look at the CBR 650R. And when I was in the showroom, they had a CBR 500R. 23 miles on the clock, £4,800, and I thought, do you know what, that is too much of a deal. I think the CBR 650R was 7.5 grand, I think. So it's a hell of a difference, and obviously the insurance makes a difference as well. But yeah, the 500 was what I wanted, and I found it, in comparison to this bike, the 750, the NC, I found it very front heavy, and that took a little while to get used to, because the 125 is not a heavy bike. This is quite balanced. Although it's a heavy bike overall, you don't really feel the weight of it, because the fuel tank's at the back, the engine's at low down at the front. It feels really balanced, and I'm probably going to feel it again because I've not ridden the CBR now for 5 months, as near as makes no difference. So it's going to be able to get back on that again. But yes, I could feel that it's very front heavy, and it did take me a little while to get used to it. But that's a great bike as well. You know, make no mistake, that's a great bike. And I do hold this belief that you don't really need anything bigger than a 500. This has only got the power of a 500. But yeah, you just don't need it on the roads, even on motorways. This has plenty enough grunt. The CBR 500R has plenty of grunt. More than enough. If you're in a situation where you need more than that, I think you're being a bit risky. Or you've made a mistake somewhere, or... yeah. So... there's my thoughts on it. Those are the bikes that I've owned, those are the bikes that I've ridden. I know it's not much history, I haven't got much comparison to make with other things, but... I'm actually, you know, I'm not unhappy with any of the bikes I've bought. I'm really not. And I know people don't like this NC750, or that they're very dismissive of it. No, I couldn't sing its praises more, to be honest. Like I say, if you're going out for a fun bike, you're never going to buy this. If you're going out for a fast bike, you'll never buy the CBR 125R, although you probably never will again now, because you can only get them second hand. They don't make it anymore. And you really don't need more than the CBR 500R. I think 500s or 600s in general, I think that's all you need for the road. You really, really, really do not need more than that. I know you want to tell me I'm wrong. If you want more than that, there's nothing wrong with getting more than it, you just don't need it. Anyway, there's my bike history. As I say, it's not much, but it is what it is. People. Yeah, that's the shitty sort of people that you're going to deal with the new highway code rules. Don't start me on that just yet. I'm relaxing. In terms of mileage, just to give you an idea of what miles I've done, as I mentioned, I did do 26,151 miles on the CBR 125R. I have now done, according to this, 43,256 miles on this bike. and I've done 11,439 on the CBR 500R. Don't ask, I know these figures. Anyway. So what's that? 69, 70, 80, a little over, well, nearly 81,000 miles, I would say. 80,000. 900. Yeah, a little over 81,000 miles. I would say I've enjoyed every mile of it. That's not entirely true because I've had 2 accidents, and you don't enjoy accidents, but for those centimetres, I've enjoyed it all. It's been great fun. If you don't have a bike, you don't know what you're missing. Anyway, so although this is a video I've been trying to make for a long time, it was a suggestion made to me on Instagram. Yes, I know I'm not very good at social media still, but I am getting there. But if you do want to leave a direct message on there, or tweet at me, or leave comment and suggestions here for a video to do, whatever, or if you feel that you need to comment about my choice of bikes or my opinions, feel free. Just keep it polite. Do me that one favour. And with that said, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Every single view is good for me. I don't get many of them, so, you know, that's not true. That's not entirely true. Some get more views than others. Until the next video, be good humans. Ta-ta for now.